Have you ever noticed that your mobility work doesn't seem to stick? No matter how many hours you put into stretching and trying to gain flexibility, it always just generally stays the same. That's probably because you're not putting in enough high intensity efforts to make meaningful change. Today's hip mobility routine is going to help solve that. Now, this isn't your typical mobility routine you would see on YouTube. We're actually going to work hard. We're going to use deep stretching and high intensity efforts to try to make change. Change isn't made in one session though, so you're going to have to repeat the sequence a couple times a week if you really want to start to notice a difference in your hips. And with that, use your best judgment and don't push into pain. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to warm up the spine, go into a cat-cow position on all fours. And let's start with trying to reach our spine to the sky. So that'll be flexion. Okay, and from there, I want you to think about segmenting your tailbone, sticking your tailbone back, taking your time, and extending each vertebrae, chest going to the ground, and then looking up as much as you can. That's full extension. Now we're going to reverse with the tailbone. Exhale. As you exhale, pull your guts in and segment your spine piece by piece. So almost every set we're going to do in this class is going to be about 60 seconds or so. And then go ahead and extend. Warming up that spine so that we have more connection to the center of our body, and honestly having a little bit more awareness in the lower body, in the lower lumbar is going to help us out for our hip stretches as well. Finish up that last rep. Excellent. Now we'll stay in this position. Left hip is going to go through a controlled articular rotation. So think about bringing your left knee up towards your chest. Left knee out. As your left knee goes out, try to raise your left ankle above your knee and make this nice circle, and then park your knee back under your hip. Now reverse. As you go through this, try not to move anything else but your hip. Keep your ankle up as high as you can to the last second, and then your knee will spin and you'll park that knee back under the chest. Go ahead again. Be mindful too of not bending your elbows, not letting your head move, keeping that spine nice and stable, and just trying to extend all the way through that range of motion. And keep in mind how this feels, because we're gonna, at the end of class, we're gonna do it again and see if we feel any different. Finish up this last repetition. Great job on breathing.
You mean me?
Yeah, I mean you. I was like, I can't hear them breathe, and they realize that too. All right, go ahead and switch sides.
What's really helpful for me here is keeping the stance of the hands a little wider too.
Gives you just a little more support. Totally. Yeah. And because this is our second side, take the opportunity now to appreciate any differences between left and right. It may be you have different mobility restrictions on left and right. You also may have injuries based on what you do also throughout the day. So it's always good just to appreciate any asymmetries that we could have. And as you do, finish up this last rep, take your time, generate a little bit more tension through your body. So contract your whole body like a fist and just work through that last bit of range of motion. Excellent job. So right leg will be down, left leg will be back. What we're gonna work on is attacking internal rotation in the left hip, that what we call the capsule, the deep stuff. So the way to do this is you want to have that left leg planted on the ground, and then we're going to simply move our body around the left hip. So think about your pelvis, take your pelvis around, and think about sitting back in that left hip. If you feel like you're about to pop your hip out of the socket, it's probably where we want to be. Don't actually do it, but it should feel like a deep, like joint stretch.
Yeah, it feels like an awkward stretch.
Yep.
Usually we feel the stretch is very superficial, but this feels deeper in the capsule.
And if you feel this in your knee or doesn't feel like it should, we have a couple modifications that you can use that are on the screen. So Once we're deep in that hip, let's take just a couple breaths and just take some big inhales followed by bigger exhales so you can let yourself settle into that. Essentially, we're going to be using pails and rails. So pails and rails are isometric contractions, and one is pushing out of the stretch and the other one is pulling deeper into the stretch. So what that means is, imagine that you have a scale underneath your left ankle. I want you to start to press down to that scale about 30% of your overall effort. And you should feel some tension generate in your hip.
So focusing more on the foot pressing down or the knee?
More of the foot.
The foot, okay.
But it's coming from the hip. Like you're windshield wipering the hip down. Maybe go to about 50% just to get a feel for that. Excellent job. And now reverse that. Imagine trying to lift your ankle up. So reverse the effort as if you were to lean forward and lift it up. See if you can still contract without actually lifting up. 50 to 60% of your effort. And just hold.
So the idea is not to rock forward. Stay where you are and then try to lift.
100%. Good job. 3, 2, 1. Slowly let that go. It's kind of a warm-up set. So we talked earlier about having that intensity. So we're going to put that intensity in here. Use your best judgment. But generally, the more intensity you can get away with without hurting yourself, the more gains you're gonna have. So we'll ramp up to about 30 seconds, and through that, we're gonna ramp up to an extremely hard effort. Cool? Okay, so go with a big inhale. I want you to exhale through your stretch. And at the bottom of that exhale, start a pailless contraction. Press your ankle down into the ground. 10%. 40% of your overall effort. Think of the heaviest weight you've ever lifted. Give me 60% of that effort. And now start to press down and hold. Best effort, maintain, squeeze. This is how you get your mobility work to stick. You have to put effort into that contraction. Keep pressing your leg down into the ground. Try to feel your hip move in its socket through the ground. Hold. 10 seconds, maintain. Keep pressing down. There's more of you that you can press down with. Keep going. The whole body is irradiated. 3, 2, reverse rails. Try to pick that ankle up, but don't move. Just squeeze all the stuff on the outside of the hip. You're actively pulling deeper into that stretch. We have 20 seconds. Best output you can maintain. Keep going. Keep going.
Longest 10 seconds.
We have 15 actually. Keep going.
Okay, 15.
Now we have 10. Hold. I told you we're going to train hard today. Keep going. 3, 2, 1. Slowly sink into that stretch a little bit deeper. Here's what we're going to do to save the work a little bit more. I want you to pick your left leg up, just like this. Nice and easy. Easy on the way up, hard on the way down. So what we'll do, lift your knee up. Your whole leg, great. Then think about letting your ankle go out, and your ankle is going to go up towards the sky as your knee comes down to the ground. And then ideally your knee will touch first, and then your ankle will land back down.
Crampy sensation.
Good cramps. Now, reset, so just come back up. We know what to expect, so now we're gonna go really hard. We have 4 reps. Squeeze and lower for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. Reload. If you wanna make it harder, lean into that hip. If you need to make it easier, lean away. And lift, lower. 3, 2, 1. Excellent job. Come back. 2 more. Squeeze, lift, lower. Good. Keep fighting, keep fighting. Try to lift that ankle higher than the knee. Squeeze. Ooh. Last one. You know what to do. Our job is to push more out of you. Let's do it together. Here we go. Squeeze, irradiate the body, lift the leg, hold. Internally rotate, keep trying to lift the ankle up, drive the knee down, keep going, keep going, keep going. Make it last as long as you can. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Woo.
Nice one.
That's great. I want you to imagine that you have a tennis ball underneath your right knee. Smash that tennis ball, okay? Now, look at your left leg, extend your left ankle. From there, press that tennis ball down with your right knee. Start to peel your left leg away from the ground as if you have gum stuck between you and the ground, and start to open up. With Kinstretch, this type of movement training, you have to generate your own tension. most times. So you're gonna squeeze and literally try to pry yourself apart. As you go through this, the left heel will wanna lift up. Keep pressing your right knee into the ground. Keep going. Eventually, your right knee's gonna have to come off the ground. Slowly let that happen, but keep driving the left knee back to the ground. And now we're in bear position. We're not gonna stay here. We're actually gonna transition to 90-90 on the other side. Drive the left knee down, let the right leg come up. As I do, I start to point my right foot. Swirl in, drive the right hip down, and now we're in 90-90 on the other side. Great job. Don't worry, we'll get more of bear a little bit later. So let's go ahead and take our body and rotate around our right hip, just like we did with the left. You can also take your belt buckle or your pelvis and just do a little bit of searching to see if you can find a stretch sensation deep in that hip. It shouldn't feel too pinchy. If it does, you may have to back out of that range of motion, but ideally you're gonna find, just a really deep, almost like a hip spiral sensation in that capsule. And your left leg, if you need to, you can move it in a little bit as well. It's not really needed for this part. The main thing I want you to focus on is, can you wedge your body around your right hip and then induce a load in that hip capsule stretch. Once we're there, just take 1 or 2 breath cycles. With each exhale, really try to sink into the stretch. With the inhales, try to inhale more air in that area. It kind of sounds like a little weird because you can't inhale into your hip, but the idea is to gain length in the exhale and then keep it in the inhale. All right, we're gonna do a little baby set like we did the first time, a little warm-up set. So start with your palest contraction, meaning that you're gonna press your ankle into the ground, feel your hip tissue light up with tension. The deepest stuff that you feel the stretch in, that's what you wanna use to squeeze. So press down, maybe 40 to 60% of your effort. We're just gonna hold this for 10 seconds. So it gets a little more familiar to us. Good, hold. Practice the skill of irradiation, right? Think about how you can contract the rest of your body to help with this. Try the rails now. Think about trying to lift the ankle up, or more importantly, rotate the femur internally and hold that. 10 seconds. I almost think like heavy on the knee, light on the ankle.
Light on the ankle, yeah.
Slowly let that go, and as you let that go, sink a little deeper into that stretch. And I always think about rotating the waist around that femur, like this. You have to rotate around, and now you're a little bit deeper than probably where you started. Again, if you need to modify your 90-90, you can use that yoga block modification or under the knee, under the hip. But again, our focus is that hip.
Always having a nice frame with your arms too.
Totally. If you feel a lot going on here in the spine, you may be past your hip, so you may be better off here versus being up taller. All right, so now we're gonna start our holy shit set. All right, so big inhale together. Exhale, sink a little deeper. Keep exhaling. At the edge of your exhale, start your palest contraction. Press down into the ground. Fire the stuff that's on stretch at 20% of your overall effort. Now go to 50 to 70%. Start to ramp up percent by percent as you stabilize. Let's go into our all-out effort now. Press, hold. Try to make a dent into the ground, and you are contracting as much of your hip stuff as you can. Put the whole body into it. Turn your entire body into a fist. Hold. Keep going, keep going. You got more in you. This is how you get it to stick. 3, 2, and now reverse rails. Pull yourself deeper into that stretch. Squeeze all of this stuff on the outside of your hip. Try to lift that ankle up without moving the rest of your body. You shouldn't be able to lift it up if you're in your end range. Keep going.
Let's go.
10 seconds. How bad do you want your hip mobility? That's how much you got to put into this set. Keep going. 3, 2, slowly melt into that.
Oh, wow.
Excellent job. You know what's left. We have that eccentric. So bring that right leg up, and we're gonna go into our eccentric, so you know what to do. I like to use my left hand as a kickstand. Make sure you don't move your body. Lift and then lower. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. Reset. Lift back up, You got 4 more reps. And go. Remember, if you need to make it harder, you lean towards the leg that's moving. If you need to make it easier, you lean away.
Time.
Reset, good job.
Oh. I was like, tell me the time.
Tell me the time. And go. Sometimes I don't tell the time every rep. I want to make you think about it.
They're gonna be seeing the time.
That's true. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, 2 more. And lift, imagine doing this with ankle weights. Then you're really building some strength. I almost like to keep the foot a little bit relaxed because it gives me more juice to get into the hip.
I can't do that.
Excellent job, last one, here we go. And make it your best rep. Go. Finish, finish. Woo. All right, here we go. We're gonna transition this time to bear. So we got that imaginary tennis ball again. It's going under the left knee. Press that tennis ball into the ground, left knee into the ground. Point your right foot. If you wanna make it harder, you go further forward. If you need to make it easier, you just keep leaning back. Do the best that you can. Pull your right knee away, drive your left knee into the ground. Slow. You generate the tension. The air got thicker. What do you like to say? It's made of honey?
Yeah.
The air is made of honey. You want to fight through it. Try to pry your hips apart as much as you can. Keep going. We have our bear position, okay? If you need to again, you can go and put a yoga block underneath your hips, which could help. Okay, some of you also will be further back. If you can, I want you to grab your shins. And then you'll take your elbows, pry your elbows into your knees. If you're somebody that is extremely mobile and your knees are on the ground, you could take a yoga blocks and put it underneath your feet. So you're actually raising yourself up. Now, in this position, we're gonna do 2 different types of contractions, okay? I want you to take a big inhale, exhale, let gravity win and pull your knees further down to the ground, and you have a new dimension of that stretch. Give me 1 more like that. Sink a little deeper, let your body know this is a good position to work from so you can work from the deepest stuff. The first one we're gonna be working is rotation of the hip. So imagine that you have scales underneath just your feet, okay? And what you're gonna think about doing is pressing your ankles into the ground, pressing the sides of your foot into the ground. As I do that, I also think about trying to pull my legs up with my hands. So I have this counter force to press down into. So go ahead and start that about 20% of your effort, just enough to feel it. We're not gonna overwhelm it just yet. Excellent. Now, from there, start to give me 60% of your effort. You're trying to pry your ankles down off the ground and hold. Give me your best effort now. Maximal effort that's safe for you. Remember, you can always squeeze a little harder than you think you can. Keep pressing down, hold. 10 seconds, maintain. 3, 2, now I want you to reverse, keep the effort. Imagine trying to lift just your ankles off the ground. Knees are gonna stay where they are. You would just lift your ankles off, squeeze all the stuff on the inside and hold. So for those of you that know the anatomy, this would be more external rotation. Keep going, hold, hold. 5, good, breathe. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, let go of the tension, sink a little deeper. Big inhale, followed by a deeper exhale. Hands are back on your shins, knees are inside your, elbows are inside your knees, I should say. Now we're gonna change up the force. So we're gonna work on hip adduction, abduction. Mm-hmm. Exactly, so not as much focused on the feet, more focused on the thigh bones. Yep. So start to pry your knees apart with your elbows, let them sink deeper into the ground. Big inhale. Exhale. At the bottom of this exhale, start to press your knees into your elbows lightly. Feel your inner thighs activate.
Oh yeah.
Good. Maybe 20%, that's where the volume is. Remember, your tissues are the speakers and your volume control is your nervous system. So we need to get your nervous system to squeeze as much as you can with your anatomy. Start to turn up to 40% of your overall effort. Good. 70%, hold. Drive further with your elbows, resist with your inner thighs. That's the break, right? Like it's stopping the force. Give me your best effort, go. Hold. Great job, keep going, harder. Pry those knees apart, resist for 3, 2, reverse rails. Pull your knees away from your elbows. Keep pulling, keep pulling. Keep pressing down, and while you do that, I have a question for you. How do you make a diamond?
Diamond? Pressure?
Pressure. I want you to give me a diamond out of your butt. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Drive those knees down to the ground. Hold, hold. 3, 2, 1. Slowly let that go.
You have to make that joke in the middle of it.
By the way, if you made a diamond, please reply back in the comments with a diamond emoji. Let us know.
Yeah, that would make my husband really happy.
Yes, exactly. Turn to your right side. Stay in bear position. If you need to, you can back further away. If you have a lot of mobility, you can go closer in. What we'll do is start to lift your right ankle up as high as you can. Good. Now, pull your right ankle up like you're hovering over a block, and we're gonna land in what's called half butterfly. Come back down, knees back down, half butterfly. We're gonna do that again. If you wanna make this even harder, try to lift the ankle up first, if it can be done. So ankle up, whole leg up, hover over that block, and I want you to land back into bear position. Now we're gaining control over a lot of that range we just did.
How to keep that knee away.
Yeah, that's a good call too, yeah.
Come all the time.
Let's do it again. We got 2 more. Squeeze, lift. Drive that left knee to the ground. Reel that right foot in. Land smoothly. Control, back through. And up again. Reach over. Back down. Last one, promise. Here we go, make it your best one. Challenge yourself, don't move anything else. Lift, squeeze. The higher the better. Keep going, keep going.
Oh.
Control. Especially that landing, you want a soft landing. And on the way out, here we go, squeeze, lift. Reach. Down. Beautiful. All right. Good news is we have one more side. The bad news is we've got one more side. So switch to the left. All right, and lift. Bend the knee. Keep that leg up as high as you can for as long as you can till you land that half butterfly. And up, reverse. Reach out. Come back down. 2 more, squeeze and lift. Back down.
It's supposed to be hard.
That's right.
Doing uncomfortable things here.
Squeeze and lift. Remember, avoid pain. It's okay to be uncomfortable because of the effort, but we don't want to have any kind of pain. Modify your body position if you need to. Last one. Lift. Pull it back. Here we go. Finish it.
Doesn't look as hard as it is.
Yeah, people are like, what are they doing? Okay, so let's go back into our quadruped position and retest our hip cars and see how they feel. We call this saving the work. So I want you to move through some tension, meaning that just put some force through your body as you go through, and try to visit all of the range of motion that we worked on, right? Internal rotation, external rotation, abduction, adduction. Take your time, connect with that range. This is what helps you solidify the session, is how much you can connect to the part of your body. We have about 20 seconds left. Make this last rep or 2 count. Slow. Try to avoid, again, moving your elbows or your lower back. If you had a yoga block on your lower back, it should be still. Finish that rep, good job. All right, let's switch hips. Here we go. Squeeze and go through that rotation. You may notice some pops and clicks. I affectionately call those barnacles. As long as they don't cause pain, it's pretty normal to have. You're just a bag of bones, and you're just trying to make sure those bones move well relative to each other. 30 seconds left. Take your time and pause in those ranges, slow things down. Notice if you're going faster through one part versus the other. Ideally, you have the same cadence. A lot of times we'll mask restrictions or weakness with speed, so the slower you can go, the better. Great job. Done. Great job. In order for biological change to happen, we have to repeat those signals to the body long enough and also make them progressive, meaning that we're trying to either do more work or have higher intensity with that. So if you want to make changes in your hip mobility, try this routine out twice a week for 4 to 6 weeks. Let us know how it goes. Most people will notice a big difference in how they feel and how they move in their hips. Now, for more in-depth strength and mobility classes, consider joining our Prime membership, where you can learn the blueprint for physical freedom.